startup some of you may have seen in the fintech program. But actually they pivoted into a loyalty operation, fitting right with what Shana was just describing. How important that customer journey is, how important it is to stay close to that. And Bits have probably identified that magic formula that probably makes all other loyalty programs obsolete. At least that's the ambition. The team is very savvy, streetwise, maybe even Wall Street-wise. So please, welcome to the stage. From the US, here is Arash, CEO and founder of Bits.
Thank you, Ernst. Return on experience. I don't even need to do my pitch anymore. That was amazing. Thank you, Ernst. I'm very excited to be here again. But before I start, I really want to give a special shout out to you and the Startup Bootcamp team for an amazing 3 months, hard work, dedication. The universe is infinitely expanding, and so is Startup Bootcamp. So please join me in a round of applause for Startup Bootcamp. Thank you. Yeah. So I'm here to talk about brand loyalty, and what better brand to speak on brand loyalty than Starbucks, one of the most revered brands and successful loyalty programs in the entire world. And their CEO, Howard Schultz, former CEO, once said, if people believe they share values with a company, they will stay loyal to that brand. He believed that the best way to build brand loyalty was through your brand's values, or as we call them at Bits, brand habits. Now habits, why habits? Well, most of you in this room were exposed to over 10,000 brands in the past 24 hours alone. How is this possible? It turns out brands analyze and target your habits without you even knowing about them. They are habits, after all. You do them subconsciously. Why do you think every time on your way to work there's a Starbucks waiting for you? Or why is it that every time you eat something or travel somewhere, you have to put it on Instagram? Mom, if you're listening, it's really annoying. But the truth is, brands actually invest in your attention. But what about your retention? What about the retention of the 91 million millennials who will enter their prime spending year next year and spend a crazy $1.3 trillion with those brands? And in return, these brands will spend $100 billion on loyalty program, all of them fighting to capture and retain a piece of your attention. And amazingly, 50% of that spend goes to complete waste. They even have a term for it in the industry. It's called spoilage. It's when things like points and miles go to complete waste, unredeemed, unused. And it's not like they just disappear. They stick around. They don't go anywhere. And it's a big balance sheet liability, ultimately. And so how do these brands deal with that liability? Well, I think many of you can relate to this one. They devalue them. They expire them. And even though it's a short-term solution, it creates a long-term problem with customer appreciation. If you don't believe me, just ask Tesco. When they tried to devalue or expire their points, they got so much customer blowback that they had to delay the expiration. So for the brands in the room, imagine using your customers' habits without wasting another point ever. Or better yet, imagine, what if your customers not only shared your values, but they owned them as well? So we imagined all these things, and we came up with Bits. Give your customers bits of stock when they spend with the brands they love, with your brand. And it works in 3 simple ways. Your customers link their payment methods, they select your brand, and they do what they already do, which is shop with your brand. And every time they shop with your brand, we automatically give them free stocks in your company. That's right, free, gratis. Now, why would brands actually pay for this? There's no such thing as a free lunch, right? Well, brands care about sales, they care about conversion, they care about preference. But brands are starting to understand what we understand, which is that stocks mean ownership. It's all about ownership mentality. Stocks are a much more powerful currency for rewards than cashback, points, miles, etc. And if you turn your customers into shareholders, you're going to acquire customers much more cost effectively, and those customers are far more likely to refer your products and services to their friends. And we just heard from Vima how important that is. But they're also 50% more likely to make repeat purchase orders in your store. And you're going to build long-lasting relationships, the kind of retention that you want. So for brands, we drive customer lifetime value. but we also build loyalty in a way that's never been done before. And we're currently doing this with many of the brands that you already love. And we are the dream team of Wall Streeters, technologists, tech geeks, growth hackers, perfectly suited to solve this problem. And we've recently added Eileen Owen-Tan as our Chief Marketing Officer with over 20 years of experience in the brand agency industry. And we're expected to close our funding round next week, thanks to our new Dutch institutional investor, Ava, who's in the room today. And lastly, we've been accepted into Money 2020 Startup Academy, so if you're here on June 5th in Amsterdam, come hear us pitch on stage at the largest payments conference in the world. And I'll leave you with this. I am a millennial. I am part of the activist generation. We want to have a say in your brand's values. And what better way for us to have a say than through ownership mentality? And now with Bits, I can. So for the brands in the room, come talk to us about how you should value your customers' habits 1 bits at a time. Thank you.